Start the event now. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I will not feel guilty for the rest of this event that I kept you hungry, and I was the one between you and the food. So there was a fair chance given to everyone before the kickoff of the meeting to actually have food and desserts and coffee and tea. So that's good. So that reduces my liability and all the moral obligation of for this event.
Excuse me, sir. Well, the sound is not clear yet. Maybe if you take this and use the other one.
Actually,
We can't hear you clearly.
it's not clear.
As if he was
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, Pakistani song.
We'll sing the song later.
Yeah, because there is this.
Is it better now?
It's much better.
This mic is for the video, and this mic is for the hall.
Now it's okay.
So I'm using two mics. Right. So I'm just going to start with a very old saying, which was said by some wise man back in the history. I cannot remember his name, but he is from a Chinese background. That the journey of 1,000 miles actually begin with one small step. And today is the day when we are starting a long journey, taking this small step, meaning this kickoff meeting. And the whole idea of this journey is business transformation in a digital way of Zamil Group. Why we are doing that is because the company, the business, is at that point in time in its life cycle where it requires a system that can assist us in making informed business decisions, improving internal controls, data accuracy, timeliness, and overall business support. That's the whole objective of this. So in light of this, we have selected Microsoft AX 2010 as the software of choice to actually transform our business digitally, right? I'm not going to go into too much detail because I have a presentation coming up in which we will talk more about this project, and I will talk more about what the expectations are and so on, what the milestones are and so on and so forth. But this session, just I'll take a couple of minutes to introduce yourself to the people, gentlemen sitting on the stage, and then I will move on to the next session. So we've got Mr. Najib Zamil. He is the shareholder as well as he's the chairman of our board of directors. So I requested him day before yesterday, and he was kind enough to accept my request, and he accepted to grace us and this event with his presence. So I really thank you on behalf of the rest of the company. We have got Mr. Muhammad Yassin. He is the CEO, as we all know. He is with us. We have a representation from the other shareholders from Jadwa, Mr. Hassan Askar. He has been kind enough, again, at very short notice to accept our invitation, and he has joined us. So very welcome to you as well. We've got Mr. Saleh Zamil. He is the business process. He is going to be the business process owner, which is going to be a temporary role, but his permanent role is, apart from being from the Zamil family, he is the head of human resources and administration. So he's also going to be the business process owner for human resources module in the project. We got Mr. Bassam. He is our CCO, and he looks after the sales, and he also heads up the marketing initiatives in the company. And he's going to play the role of business process owner of the sales and marketing module. Then we got two chairs empty. One is for my friend Ahmed Maghrabi. He is the project manager and a very close friend of mine, even though we are in the initial stages of our friendship. But he represents Trax Consulting, whom we have selected, whom we have joined hands to actually implement this project. So he's a little bit shy. I invited him a couple of times on the stage, but he was saying, no, I'll come later on. So please have a seat. So Mr. Ahmed Maghrabi, he is the head of operations as well as the project manager from Trax Consulting. So the main person from Trax. from the project side. And the last chair is, I hope it's for me, but I'm not going to be staying too long in that seat. I'll just be with the audience most of the time. So that's a brief introduction of our business process owners and the shareholders. I just, as next step, I just wanted to invite Mr. Muhammad Yassin, our CEO, to kindly come on the podium and say a few words as a welcome note. So please welcome Mr. Muhammad Yassin. Switch it on.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I would like to thank you all for attending our important event today. Also, I would like to thank Trax company who will implement Microsoft Dynamics. We have very high expectation of this ERP system. We believe it will facilitate our work, will leverage our results, and it will make our work easy. But there is a challenge here. This challenge is we have very short period to implement this system. We have to go live before 2017. And I believe if we have engagement and commitment, we can achieve this target. So this required planning and required focus and commitment. We need commitment from everybody, and this is what we expect from our team and Trax team. So there is a plan, and this plan we will go through it with Mr. Muazzam, how we will implement it, what is the required, what is the transformation. So I will give the chance to Mr. Muazzam to explain to you how we will do it and what is required. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That actually brings us to the second session of our meeting. Before we formally start the presentation, I will just ask the same question again, right? That how many of us know what this project 117 is all about? Actually, this is a project, so everyone knows it's an ERP project and so on. But what does 117 signifies? Because I kept getting calls after I sent my first email out introducing about the projects from different departments and different people. Some of them were saying, is it an emergency number? Is it an ambulance number? Is it a firefighting number? What is it? So it's got nothing to do with that. It has a reason behind it. It's not an emergency number. Project 117 actually is, the reason why we gave this name to the project is because we have a very tight timeline. I'll just point you towards the background of this whole project. Earlier, we had a plan to kick off the project next year because we did not have enough time in this year to start and finish the project. But then we had internal discussions with our ExCom and our board, and we realized that we had a lot of initiatives going on in next year, which we have to prioritize for next year and also to take up. That had a conflict with this project. And that's why we decided that with enough good planning and with a strong team, we will start the project and we will inshallah finish it by the end of this year. In a very tight timeline, we have to achieve this goal. We have to finish this project. And we have to go live on the 1st of January 2007. And this is what this project is all about. That the goal of this project is to go live on the 1st of January 2017, and that's what this 117 is all about. So we'll just go to the next slide. Right. Can I request to dim the lights a little bit because it's hard to see what's there on the screen? we have anyone from hotel management? Can you dim the lights, please? Right, so I'll just give you a brief history of what the digital and system evolution journey is all about in the group, Zamil Industry, Trade and Transport Company. In 2009, we moved away from totally paper-based environment to a small system called segments. Right, so segments is a basic system that used to take care of our business requirements, the reportings, data collections and reportings and all of that when the business was in the process of growth phase. So from 2009 until now is when we lived with segment, we used segment, and we utilized it to generate reports, to capture the data, and use it as our software. But now, as I said, the business is at that point in its growth phase where we need a more evolved, a more mature, a proper ERP solution. And that's the reason back in 2014, management decided to purchase SAP licenses, as I think most of you are aware of it. In December of 2014, management decided to purchase SAP licenses, and they invested in the hardware and all of that. But 2015 was the time, as you're all aware, we went through management changes, change in priorities. The focus was kind of different, so we could not really concentrate on ERP implementation, which was last year. In the first quarter of 2016, we again went back, and then we reevaluated our position of where we stand in terms of taking up our new project of ERP implementation. There were a couple of proposals. SAP was one of them, and then there were other products as well. Microsoft Dynamics was also on the table. All of these options were carefully analyzed. They were carefully evaluated, and then eventually the management decided to actually go for Microsoft Dynamics AX 2012 implementation. Now, what is this product all about? How does it differ from other products, and why have we selected it? The simple answer is that this product is, like many other products, is specialized for manufacturing industry as well as the construction industry, where you are taking up projects. It's very user-friendly. It's not as heavy to use as probably more advanced softwares are, like Oracle or SAP. So it's relatively easier to use, relatively more user-friendly, and a well-known product all over the world. So we chose Microsoft Dynamics as our software of choice. We selected Trax Consulting after doing a due diligence on 3 or 4 different partners who are in the same industry. We selected them. We actually handpicked them based on their background, based on their experience, based on what they have offered us to bring on the table and the quality of their consultants. So that actually brings us to where we are today. Now, since we have already decided that we are going to go ahead with ERP implementation, I just wanted to point you towards some of the challenges that we have on hand that we are dealing with, and we are actually struggling with those issues. The crux of the matter is that the company's ability to make informed decision is heavily impaired for not having a system which is completely integrated. Meaning, in simple words, different areas of the business, starting from procurement to production, to inventory management, to quality control, to sales and finance, they are not linked up. So in our current scenario, we have certain areas which are functional within segment system. Other areas are outside of the system. They are either manual paper-based, or we use a different system to handle them. So the result of all of this is that there is an inability or less ability of the management to make informed business decisions. Detail of that, a few examples. A lot of people from the management, they complain to me every now and then that the month-end closing process takes more than expected. Why does it take 15 days, 2 weeks to do the financials, to do the financial closing, right? The answer is all of our business processes, they are not interconnected. So there is a lot of manual work which is involved, which we have to do, reconcile, gather the data, reconcile it, interpret it, and compile it before we can do our financial closing. So that's one major area where we are struggling as management. We've got revenue recognition issues, which is one of the key problems with our current business scenario. So again, with ERP and integrated automated system, we can address that issue as well. I think everyone and anyone in this room would be aware of what's going on with our inventory management, our warehousing, right? So what we have in the system doesn't reconcile with what we have physically. The balances are wrong, the SKUs are wrong. So again, it's kind of a struggle that we do on a daily basis. Manufacturing process is completely off the system. So production, costing, and quality, it is not part of the system. So at the end of the day, we reconcile what we have produced with our opening inventory for the month and closing inventory for the month to do our financial closing every month, because we don't have that process built into the system. Fixed asset register, again, is an area which we are struggling with. And then, last but not the least, a lot of time, management, especially at the XCOM level, they request me to present reports that they would like to see to make different business decisions, and we have an inability to actually generate those reports because the system doesn't really support it. So these are some of the examples and challenges that we have been facing in the last few years, ever since the business has gone through that tremendous growth curve. As a result of that, we have selected this product as our software of choice, and we are going to implement it. Now, implementation, before we move on, implementation, I just want to emphasize so that everyone can relate with what is this implementation all about. Is this implementation an IT project? Is it something that an IT manager or an IT consultant will sit in his back office and do it and prepare something, bring it to us, and we will start using it, like a disk or a software or something? No, it's not. It's not an IT project, right? ERP is not an IT project. We are all here, the whole project team is here, and I think it's the best venue for me to explain and emphasize again and again that this is not an IT project. If you think that this project is an IT project, IT people, our own IT team will get together with the consultant and they will do it, this project will fail. It will not succeed because it is not an IT project, it is a business project, right? So it requires, since it is a business project, it is a business transformation project, so it requires involvement and participation from the business. And from business means actually all of us, from different areas. From sales, from human resources, from inventory and warehousing, from finance, from operations, production, quality, installation, from across the board. Because it's a business project, right? Think of it, now, what is the concept? What is the concept? I just wanted to explain it to you by giving you a simple example. Let's say, for example, you want to build a house, right? A new house. You cannot build it by yourself unless you are a builder. Even if you're a builder, you cannot build it by yourself. You need people to actually come in and work for you, right? But at the end of the day, you need a house. So to have that house, you need to call in a builder who's an expert in building houses. He knows how to build a house. And he will have his own team who will have specialized people who knows how to do the architecture of the house, how to take care of the electrical stuff of the house, how to do the carpenting stuff of the house, and how to do other civil works of the house. There are different specialized people who will join hands, who will get together all of their abilities in order to build the house that you need to live in. So you need a builder. So you bring in a builder, and you tell them that, look, I need a house. Now, the builder doesn't know what kind of house do you want. The builder is going to tell you, okay, can you please sit with my architect and let us know what kind of house do you want? We have these models, what do you want? At the end of the day, what should be the layout? What should be the structure? What kind of house do you want? So you have to sit with the architect, who is an expert. And he will tell you technically, this is doable and this is not doable, right? At the end of that discussion, the architect is going to go back. He will translate that discussion into a drawing. And then he will bring that drawing over to you, and he will say that, look, based on our discussions, this is what you want. So kindly approve it. And you will say that, yes, this is exactly what I want. Or you will say, no, by the way, I don't want this. I want it in a different way. And then you will have a discussion. Maybe what you want is probably technically not doable, so the architect is going to challenge you. Right? So there's going to be a discussion until you reach a final agreement on the design of the house. And then you'll sign off. Once you sign off, then the architect is going to give that drawing to the builder, to the person who actually does the civil work. So now the civil work starts. So civil work obviously has got nothing to do with you. It's purely based on the design, the architecture of the house. So he's going to go back, he will arrange the builders, they will come in, they'll do the civil works, and they will build the house. Once they have built the house, then they will tell, okay, can you please come and inspect it? Can you please make sure that this is what you want? So you will be given a chance. You will come in, you will come in a couple of your folks who technically understand, if you don't understand different aspects of construction, and you will test it. Once you have tested everything, then you will say, yes, I am happy with it. This is what I wanted, and you have delivered it. I am happy with it. Now, this example actually holds true to this stage. The next stage is a little bit, I have to be crafty to build it, because ERP and house building here onwards, there's a difference. Once you are happy with it, and you have tested it, and you have said, okay, this is done, and I have accepted it, then you have to tell the family, the members who will be living in that house, you have to tell them that, look, this house has certain do's and don'ts. You cannot do certain things here, you cannot do certain things there. This is how you have to operate this machine, this is how you have to operate the pump, this is how you have to operate different gadgets, this is how you have to operate different appliances in the kitchen and here and there. So you will tell them certain things that they are not aware of. And then once they have that awareness, then the house is perfectly ready for the family to move in and live in, right? So that's a crude example. Let me try and relate it with the project. So project, we have builders. Trax Consulting is the builder. We need a system that takes care of our needs, not a theoretical system, not a book system, a system that actually fits into our business, right? That takes care of what we want, what this industry wants, what our requirement is, what our reporting requirements is. So we'll build in a builder, the consultants. They are specialized in this building of the software. They know how to do it. So they'll come in, and then they will say, okay, you want a system, this is your industry, and based on this industry, there are certain standard procedures, right? These are the best practices, for example, in sales. In your industry, you have to recognize revenue in this way. In your industry, you have to do the invoicing and the sales order, recording, dispatch of the inventory, storekeeping, finance, project accounting, procurement, in this way. These are the best practices. You can accept them, or you can challenge them. You can tell them that, look, this process, even though it's the best practice in the industry, but we have these limitations. So it's not practical for us to actually apply it in our business case. There's going to be a discussion. So these discussions between the builder, the consultant, and our team is the first stage of the project, which is the workshops, right? And then it moves on. This is how the project moves on. So what I have done is I have actually handpicked key users. In simple words, people who are knowledgeable, who are specialized in their own areas from the business, from our side. So people who are knowledgeable and who are specialized from sales, likewise from finance, inventory, procurement, all the areas. Those who know, who have enough experience and knowledge, how does a business process in their particular area start, how is it being executed, and how is it concluded. So specialized people. I have handpicked people from different business areas. They will sit with the consultants, and they will do a workshop. Those workshops will culminate into a drawing of the house, meaning the business processes. Based on those business processes, consultants will go back and they will configure the system, right? This is the whole idea. So I have a very strong team, inshallah. I have great hopes with all of you, with everyone, each one of you here in this team. I have actually personally interviewed and handpicked all of you, including the consultants. I have met, interviewed, selected all the consultants and the key users. Based on my best judgment, the people sitting in this room are capable enough, experienced enough to deliver this project. We have a short timeline. We have multiple hurdles. We have multiple aggressive milestones to actually finish this project. We don't need people who are not committed or less committed. We want people who are superstars of their functional areas. Because anything less than superstar is going to make this project fail. So these people, you guys, all of us, we will mitigate all of these project risks because it is a risky project. There is a survey which says that almost half of the ERP implementations in the world, they fail. They are not successful. Why they fail? Because of some of these reasons. Lack of commitment, that's the first thing. Lack of commitment from our side or from consultant side. Anyone, any person from the project team, if there is less commitment or no commitment, the project cannot succeed. It will fail. So that's the most important, most severe risk that we have in this project. How have we mitigated that risk? By carefully selecting the people for this project. Another risk that we have in the project that we foresee is selection of the wrong builder or the wrong consultant. Again, we have done a very thorough due diligence to make sure that we have the right consultant who will work with us and who will ensure that, inshallah, this project will succeed. It will not fail. So we have the right builder with us. Project team, again, like I've said, we have carefully selected the people. So we have got myself and the rest of the management, we have absolutely 110% confidence in each one of you that you will make this project a success story. Bad project planning, okay, you have selected the right builder, you have selected the right team, but you have gone wrong somewhere in the planning. Again, the chances are that the project will fail. So we have spent enough time, hours and days, me, myself, and rest of my team and the consultants to come up with a realistic and thorough plan for this project. Master data, inaccurate master data and balances. Now this is where your role will get highlighted. A lot of you guys will be responsible, and I will tell you the names and the roles and the details in a little bit in later slides. You will be responsible for creating the master data for our new system. Master data actually is the lifeblood of the system. If it is polluted, if it is infected, then you can imagine what's going to happen with this new system. It has to be a cleansed master data. Example, customer master, where you have a list of all the customers, you have their details, you have the pricing agreements that you have with those customers, you nominated distribution channels for each one of them, their discount policies, discount structures, all of those things. If you get it wrong and you upload wrong data in the new system, the system is not going to do any good to you. So I have seen previously in my career, when I was dealing with other projects, that a lot of time you have a fantastic team, you have a fantastic consultant, you have fantastic planning and everything else in place, but someone somewhere actually messed around with the master data. So you gave wrong balances, wrong data, erroneous data to the consultants. The consultant will take it from you, they will upload it in the system, and guess what will happen? Once you go live, you'll get wrong reports. So again, a key risk in the project. User training. Now, the group that we have here in this hall right now is a group of key users. So we've got two types of users in this project. We have key users and we have end users. Key users are the people who will actually be executing this project, while end users are the people who are in remote locations. For example, we've got sales team sitting here, a couple of guys. Tamir is the key user, Ahmed Abbas is the key user for sales. However, we have a large team, more than 100 salesmen, so why only 2? So these are the people who will lead the show in sales as key users. And then we have end users who are the salesmen or the storekeepers in our branches who will actually eventually end up using the system. So these key users will work with the consultants, they will get the training, and eventually they will go back and they will train with consultants, they will go back and train the end users. So lack of training or insufficient training at any level, key users or the end user, is a major risk in the project. So we're going to make sure, actually I will make sure as the project manager with our consultants that we have sufficient training to mitigate this risk, both at the key user level as well as the end user. Then we have a macro level, a high level risk, which is less to do with staff, but more to do with the management. And that is change management. We're going to make sure that we plan and execute change management in a way that we align the requirements of new culture, a new system, with our existing people. So change management is another key risk. I mean, we have to get it right. So these are some of the project risks, and I have explained to you how we have, as a project team, how we have planned to mitigate these risks. A little bit about project organization structure. So we got at the top level, we actually, before the steering committee, we have someone called project sponsor. Project sponsor is a person who actually sponsors the project, who wants this to happen, who invests his money for this project. And obviously these are the shareholders. So shareholders, they are the project sponsors. And then on behalf of the shareholders, we have created a committee called Steering Committee. The role of the Steering Committee is actually to monitor the different milestones and the progress of the project. Yeah? And I will, in the next slide, I'll tell you what is the composition of the Steering Committee. But the job of the Steering Committee is to meet in once in a while. I prefer twice in a month to get an update of where we are in the project. How does our performance compare with our anticipated or budgeted performance? Is there any problem? Is there any disputes? Are there any hurdles? Do we have to resolve something? Do we have any issues? How do we address those issues? Right? So that's what the role of the Steering Committee is all about. As part of the project organization, we have people who are leading the projects. So the captains of the ship. So usually, there is one captain of the ship. But guess what? Here we got two captains. Because you got two teams working together. You have consultants working with the company, right? So we have a project manager who is leading the project from consultant sides. Likewise, there is a project manager leading the project from our side. And they work hand in hand. So I think I'm going to be the project manager from the company side, and Ahmed Maghribi sitting on stage, he's going to be the project manager from consultant side. And after my presentation, I would just invite him to come over and do his presentation, and he will introduce us about himself a little bit in detail, and also his technical and functional staff. But Ahmed, as I have seen, and I have met with him in the past few months, he is an extremely capable person, a lot of experience, I think more than 12 years experience. Sorry if I'm wrong, it's more than that, but that's the number that I have in my mind. So a large number of experience of ERP implementations in different countries and different companies. So he's a very capable guy. He's going to be the person who will be leading the project from the consultant side. Then we have business process owners. These people are, again, sitting on the stage. We have Bassam as the business process owner for sales and marketing. We have Saleh for business process owner for HR and administration. We unfortunately don't have a business process owner for operations. So our CEO is kind enough to actually fill in for that gap, because temporarily. Okay. But we got to make sure that we align on maybe at a later stage, just to make sure we don't have any gaps in there. But the CEO himself will be filling in for operations, meaning production and quality and warehousing and inventory management. So these are the business process owners, the head of a functional area. What is the role of business process owner? Actually, to take full and final responsibility of their own functional area, the way it is configured, the way it is developed, and the way it is delivered in the system. Right? So that's the role of the business process owner, a very key role. Then we've got project coordinators. Project coordinators, I have selected 3 project coordinators. One is Abdul Hasib. He is financial reporting manager, and he has got experience in ERP implementations before this project as well. He will be overseeing not only his finance area, but in addition to that, installation as well as procurement. Then we have got Fahumi. He is the FP&A manager from finance. He's going to be overseeing not only his FP&A area, but he'll also be overseeing production, quality control, inventory management. And then we've got our favorite Tamer Siddiq, who's basically the IT manager. So he's the person who is involved in IT stuff. In addition to the IT, he has assumed responsibility to oversee sales area because he is knowledgeable in sales, a lot of experience in sales. We all refer back to him when we have a question in sales, and he tries and helps us. So he's going to be overseeing sales together with Ahmed Abbas, as well as HR. So he is the project coordinator for these modules. Then we have got IT manager again, Tamir Siddiq. So he's going to take care of all the IT infrastructure, the networks, the hardware, all of that. Then we have a group of key users. We can see all across here in this hall, different functional areas. In installation, we have people, sales, we have people, HR. So a list of key users, which I will explain in a little bit. Then we have technical consultants from tracks, and then we have functional consultants from tracks, which I will leave Ahmed to explain it while he is doing his presentation. And then we have project risk management, which is obviously carried out by the project management of the consultants, because they are the specialized people, the specialists in ERP implementations. So they will let us know, gives us heads up where they foresee a risk and how to mitigate them. Our steering committee. This is the composition of our steering committee. The chairman of the steering committee is one of the shareholders, Mr. Jamal Zamil. He is going to be the chairman of our steering committee. And then we have Ahmed Kilani representing the other shareholder, Jadwa, who will also be representing on our steering committee. We have our CEO, Mr. Muhammad Yassin, member of the steering committee, myself, the project manager from Trax Consulting, and then we have got one gentleman, Amjad Fuda. He is actually the head of business development and sales with Microsoft Arabia here in Riyadh. He is the first person that I spoke with when we started this whole journey to purchase the licenses and all of it. Usually, Microsoft themselves, they don't take any responsibility or take any role in the ERP implementation project. It's not their job. Their job is, you want a software, here you go, give us money, and that's it, right? So, and obviously, the post-sales service support and all. But here, I got a good relationship with the gentleman, and I must admit that he's a great guy, actually, to talk to and also to work with. And he has been kind enough to accept my request for a representation on our steering committee from Microsoft. His role, again, will be a completely independent role. He is not representing the company, which is the client. He is not representing the Trax Consulting, which is the partner. So he is an independent person, right? So he's going to be representing on our steering committee. Tamir Siddiq is our member of the steering committee because he is heavily involved in the project from different angles. And then we have Mr. Hisham Mari. I forgot where he's sitting. He is sitting right here. And he is our internal, as we all know, he's our internal audit manager, and he is participating in the ExCom meetings, the board meetings, you know, as in the capacity of the secretary to the board and all of that. So we have you nominated as the secretary of the steering committee as well. So you're going to be joining us in all the meetings. So that's what our steering committee is all about. So these group of people, they will oversee the progress and the performance of the project on ongoing basis. And they will also help us in resolving issues, disputes, and all of that. God forbid if we have that kind of situation, which I hope we will not. Business process owners, I explained it to you earlier, head of all the people from different functional areas within the company. We don't have, unfortunately, we don't have Mr. Ali Abdul Samir, who is head of our installation, in this meeting because he's traveling right now. But we have his representation, his 2IC, or the second in command, from the installation business. Waleed Adil, he has joined us in this meeting on his behalf. We have Mr. Mahmoud Shah, who is the head of Doors Division, and he is going to be responsible for different business processes in Doors. Project coordinators, I introduced to you the three guys earlier. It's 3 people overseeing different areas. And this is probably the most awaited list of people who will actually work as the key users in this project. So these are the different modules that we are implementing. So starting from finance, sales, inventory, procurement, quality control, production, maintenance, humans. So that's the full business cycle, right? So for this business areas, we have selected these people to work as the key users. So you can, I hope, based on the emails and discussions, previous discussions with you, I hope everyone knows what their role is. Just in case if still you don't know or you're not clear what your role is, here is your role. So please identify your name, and that's what your role is going to be in this project. Now, again, like I explained a little bit ago, master data is one of the key, inaccurate master data is one of the key risks of any project. If you get master data wrong, you just cannot have a successful ending of a project. In order to mitigate that risk, again, I have nominated people from different functional areas to work as master data management team. So people responsible for any particular master data. Who is responsible for employee master? Who is responsible for bill of materials? Who is responsible for customer master? Who is responsible for chart of accounts? For cost center hierarchies? So this is the list of people who have been identified as those who will take responsibility of the master data. So it's a big job. I cannot ignore and neglect the IT team, because obviously their participation in this project is very vital to the success. We have Mr. Tamir as the IT manager, we have Mr. Hussain as programmer, and we have Mr. Edsham, who will take care of the hardware and the networks and the rest of the infrastructure. Now, this is the bottom line. The bottom line is, now you know what the roles are, what the project is all about, and who will do what. And this is how we have broken our project down into different phases. Yeah. So the overall time frame of the project is about 21 weeks. That's the overall time frame of the project. Broken down in all of these phases. The first phase actually is over now, but it's not over because we are still doing the installation of operating system and all of that. The second phase is analysis and design. In simple words, what it means is you sit with the architect and he will tell you that this is the standard. And you will tell him this is what I need. And then you have a discussion. And then you, at the end of the day, you're going to come up with an architecture, right, of the system. So that's the first phase, 6 weeks. I'm not going to go into the details here, because if I go into the details for what it is all about, then probably I'm going to be talking for the rest of my life, if not a few hours. But analysis and design phase, 6 weeks. These 6 weeks, 100% participation is required from our side. There is no way that we say we are not available for the consultants for this discussion during this time. There is no way. If we are not available, if a key user is not available for this phase of the project, it means project will get delayed. Our goal is to go live on the 1st of January 2017. If the project gets delayed, we will not be able to reach our goal. So our full participation from each one of us is mandatory, required in this phase. The third phase is configuration and development, which means the builder has the design of your house now, and he's going to go back and he will start the construction. So now life is good for us. We don't have to do anything. It's the consultant's job. They will go and build a system based on our discussions with them in the previous phase. So this house building, or in a more relevant term, system building, will take 4 weeks to finish, including 1 week of Eid break, Hajj and Eid break. These 4 weeks, like I said, is kind of a downtime for all of us, because our interaction with the consultants is negligible, minimum to zero. We will not be engaged like we have to be engaged in other phases of the project. We will not be engaged. It's consultant's job. So this is kind of a downtime, 4 months. Then we have, once they have built the house, built the system, they'll come back and they will say, okay, here is your product, we have done it. So now we will teach you how to use it, how to use your own system. They will teach us, right? This teaching, or this training, which is key user training, is scheduled for 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks of training for the key users, people sitting here in under this roof. After this training, we have 1 week planned for preparing the test environment and writing the scripts. Okay, we got the training, now we know how to live in this house or how to use this product. Now we have to test it, whether it serves the purpose, whether it is being built the way we wanted it to build. Does it have any errors? Does it have anything which is not desired? We will test it. So the testing of the system, again, will be done by all of us sitting under this roof, not the end users. So your presence and your participation is mandatory. 100% participation is mandatory. UAT is user acceptance testing. That's the testing that you do of the system in your own functional area. After the UAT, good. Now you know how to use this house. You have tested it. Inshallah, you will pass the test. You're happy with it. Now you want the other members of the family to come in and get training of how to use this product. So you will train the end users. Meaning insulation, you will go back, and you will go back, and you will train the entire team in insulation, whoever is the user. You will tell them that, look guys, I know how to use the system, and I'll teach you how to use it. In sales, likewise, you guys will go to the salesman, you'll go to the branches, and you will teach them how to use the system in your own functional area. So we'll train the end users. 3 weeks for the end user training. And then that will take us to the end of December, which is 31st of December, 2016, and inshallah we'll go live on the 1st of January, 2017. So that's the high-level project plan. The key takeaway, apart from understanding it, the key takeaway from this discussion, or this particular slide, is there is only 4 weeks of downtime for all of us in this project. Between now, starting from Sunday, until 31st of December, there is only 4 weeks of downtime for us, which is when they will be configuring the system based on the workshops. If anybody wants to take time off, if anybody has another commitment, if anybody wants to get married again or the first time, depending on what you're looking for, that is the time to actually go and do that. Not before it and not after it, because we cannot afford to do it. We cannot. So I have actually said it earlier, and I'm re-emphasizing it once more. If you have any plans, any hidden agendas, any secret missions between now and 31st of December, please cancel it. It's not going to be possible, other than these four weeks, to be committed elsewhere other than this project. Take time off, to be away from work. It's not possible. It will delay the whole project. We cannot afford that, right? We cannot afford it.
Just I Because during the configuration, it's almost we are going to upload your master data to prepare the system to be especially with your data and business.
Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed. So he has cancelled your 4 weeks of vacation also. It's not me. He is the one who has cancelled it. And I completely understand that. The message is that we will not be engaged on full-time basis in the project. Not all of, because master data management team is a different team. It's not all of us sitting here in this room who will be working on the master data. We have only a few people who will be working on that. So it's a message for them, right? So that's the high-level project time frame and the project plan, which brings us to the end of my discussion and my presentation. And as a next step in this event, I just want to invite Mr. Ahmed Maghrabi to come and hold the stage, introduce himself and his team.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Martin for the nice introduction and the nice example that he gave. He made my task easy actually. So instead of saying that we are just consulting, that we are doing blah blah blah, I'm almost saying that we are the builder of the house. And actually, my presentation will be more or less elaboration of what he said. Okay, I'll be starting with an introduction to myself. My name is Ahmed Maghrabi. I'm the operations manager of Trax Consulting. I'm in the ERP field for around 19 years right now, specifically in consulting, and around 11 years, specifically in Microsoft Dynamics AX ERP. I'm certified from an organization called the EPICS, American Production and Inventory Control Society. I'm holding a credential called CPIM, Certified in Production and Inventory Management, CSCP, Certified Supply Chain Professional. Adding to this, I'm EPICS recognized instructor. I'm also certified from the PMI, Project Management Institute. I'm holding the PMP credential. And also holding a certificate called CPF, Certified Professional Forecaster. This is a certificate given for business planning and business forecasting. And at the end, of course, I'm certified from Microsoft as a master consultant for Microsoft Dynamics AX ERP system. And I have today my colleagues who will be carrying on this project with me. Of course, I will introduce them during the presentation. So this is my agenda. In the beginning, I'll give a quick overview about Trax Consulting, what we are doing in Trax Consulting and the business of Trax Consulting. Then I will introduce my colleague, the project team, who will be participating as the business consultants and the ERP consultants in both sides, technical and functional, in this project. Then I will give an overview about the project, elaboration to what Mr. Mazam mentioned, but with some details, the scope of work of this implementation, and what are the milestones and phases that we're gonna go through this stage. Then the rules and responsibility for each team member in the project. Then we will have some high-level risk management assessment just to share with you what are the risks that we may face in this project and an initial plan to mitigate and manage these kind of risks. Then I will discuss the communication management, because communication is very important for the project to be successful. That's why proper communication will lead us to the success. And at the end, I will be discussing the certification program for the key users, because you have been selected as the key user for this implementation project. So there should be some certification and qualification program so you can lead the project after that. At the end, we can have an open discussion. Right. First of all, Trax Consulting. What's Trax Consulting? Trax Consulting have multiple business units. The main business of Trax Consulting is information system. We are a partner for Microsoft Dynamics. But from our experience in the market, we found that if you have a wonderful ERP system like Microsoft Dynamics AX or any ERP, it's not going to work without two important components in place. The first, the business process that should be in place. So no system will work without a proper business process. But even the business process requires a qualified team members, a qualified people to run this business process. This is the people components. These are the three business units we have in Trax Consulting: business solution, specifically for Microsoft Dynamics, and operation management consulting. This is the other business unit, and operation management training, operation management and supply chain management. And this is where we are specialized in Trax Consulting, as I will elaborate after that. Right now, we have these three business units. We have started the process to decouple these three business lines into separate legal entities. In this year, in 2016, we started with the training business. Now it's Trax Academy, and all the training activities is being run under the name Trax Academy. And during the next couple of years, we will decouple the consulting business from the business solution business. So we will have Trax Consulting focusing on the consulting services only, and Trax Information System focusing on the business solution and information system. Trax, as a company, is member of Al-Tayyar Group, Al-Tayyar Industrial Group. It's a big industrial company in Jeddah, which is owned by Mr. Saud Al-Tayyar, and the chairman of Trax Consulting, Mr. Riyadh Al-Tayyar. We hope that he is with us today, but unfortunately he is traveling to US in his annual vacation. So hopefully, inshallah, we will have him with us in the Go Live celebration after the successful implementation of this project. About Al-Tayyar Group, Al-Tayyar founded in 1975 as an industrial group focusing on plastic industries, mainly for the plastic pipes and fittings and the flexible packaging, plastic flexible packaging. They have more than 2,000 employees across the kingdom. They have 5 manufacturing plants in Jeddah and 1 manufacturing plant in Egypt. And they have more than 10 branches across Saudi Arabia. In Trax, we believe in partnership. We have our partner Microsoft. We are a gold partner for Microsoft, specifically for Microsoft Dynamics, AX and CRM. And we are a partner also for a Dutch company called 2Increase. And we have today also our partner Solvate, presented by Mr. Amir Ataya. He will implement the HR and payroll localized vertical for Microsoft Dynamics AX, because as you know, the standard ERP system is not designed to fit the local requirement for the local markets. That's why Solvate is a specialized company to develop the localized solution for Microsoft Dynamics AX in the area of HR and payroll. On the operation management training and consulting side, we are a partner for an EPICS, which is the American Production and Inventory Control Society. And we are a partner also for another Dutch company called AnyChange, providing a business simulation tool called the Fresh Connection. We are proud of our customers. We have, alhamdulillah, big names that we have successfully implemented Microsoft Dynamics AX with. These are 3 samples of big customer names enterprises with multiple business, diversified business, the same as Al Zamil. We have Zamil Company Group, which is the biggest Dynamics AX customer in Saudi Arabia. They have more than 1,000 users on AX, not employee user. Zamil Company has diversified business in construction, in manufacturing, in trading, plus a lot of companies. The second big customer we have in Trax Consulting, Al Uthman Group. You know Al Uthman, including Nada, the producer for dairy products and juices, and United Steel Group, USG, as well as other companies like Rafisco and Gas and Oil Technologies and IMCO. And also we have Al Maimani Holding Group, which is based in Medina and Yambo. They are a group of manufacturing companies covering Tiba, water bottling company, and Azil Rockwell, producer of the Rockwell insulation material, and Al Maimani Red Bricks. Adding to this, we have also big names, like of course Al Tayyar is our company. We have implemented AX there. And we have Bakhit, Matix, Zawaya, Kidden, JGC, Thimar Al Jazeera, Sharpatli, a lot of big names. As you see, most of them are in the production or manufacturing and construction or service-based industry. These areas that we are specialized in Trax Consulting. For the training and the operation management consulting part, we have also big names that we are establishing supply chain and operation management training with. Al Mara'i, we are developing the staff there to qualify them in supply chain and operation management. We are delivering also training to big names like Aramco, Sibcam, Al Ubaykan, Abdul Latif Jamil, NAPCO Group, Al Nahdi, Nawa Healthcare, Nada, of course, Americana, Arla Foods, a lot of big names. So these are our customers in the business line of training and consulting, and specifically in operation management and supply chain management. As I mentioned in the beginning, the major or the main business line in Trax Consulting is the Microsoft Dynamics AX. And for this product, we are focusing on main 4 industries. The manufacturing industries, the service-based industries like construction and other professional services and field services. Adding to this, the trading and wholesale distribution, as well as the retail. These are where we are specialized in Trax Consulting. The second business line we have in Trax Consulting, the training. We are a partner for a big organization called APEX. APEX is American Production and Inventory Control Society. They are the leading association in supply chain and operation management. We are the channel partner for APEX in Saudi Arabia to qualify and certify the people in supply chain and operation management to learn them how to run their business in the operation management and supply chain management. APEX is a big organization worldwide, founded in 1975, and they have multiple channel partners across the world and a lot of network. APEX has a worldwide non-certifications program in supply chain and operation management. For example, they have something called Certified in Production and Inventory Management, CPIM, Certified Supply Chain Professional, and Certified in Logistics, Transportation and Distribution. APEX ranked #1 worldwide in the field of operation management and supply chain management, according to the survey that has been done by the Supply Chain Management World magazine in 2014. APEX ranked #1, followed by something called the Supply Chain Council. Supply Chain Council and APEX later in 2014 has been merged together in one big organization. And now it became APEX Supply Chain Council, which is the tycoon and the big organization for supply chain and operation management in the world. Also, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are a partner for a company called AnyChange. AnyChange providing a business simulation tool called the Fresh Connection. The Fresh Connection is a very innovative web-based business simulation tool that help the people and learn them how to run their business by providing a simulation, a case, where they can take some strategic decision. Based on the decision they take, the system or this tool will calculate the result and give them the ROI and some financial data to guide them how to set the different business processes and take the right decisions. In an annual basis, we are conducting something called the Fresh Connection Global Competition. The global competition is run worldwide by organizations. We are the organizer in Saudi Arabia, and people are participating from different companies in multiple phases and multiple levels. The first level is the qualification. Then the second stage, we have another team who was qualified to the second phase or second stage. And at the end, there will be a presenter for each pool. We have Jeddah pool, Riyadh pool, and Al Sharqiyya pool. And the final or the Saudi winner will be presenting Saudi Arabia in the global final that run every year in a city. This year will run in Miami, in US, and the last year it was run in Istanbul, Amsterdam, yes, it was in Amsterdam, and the previous year it was in Dubai, and so on. So, and according to our agreement as well, inshallah, in the next year, in 2017, Zamil will be participating with us in this global competition. And these are some snapshots for the competition. The last thing we have in Trax Consulting, the consulting service. Consulting mainly in the operation management and supply chain management. We have number of services that we are providing regardless the ERP system. Many companies worldwide, they have the ERP, but they are suffering in some area of their business. For example, one of the services we have something called Sales and Operations Planning Implementation, S&OP. There is a lack of planning in many companies. We are implementing this service to get an integrated planning across the company. And as you all know, many companies suffering from inventory management issues. So they don't manage their inventory the right way. We are helping them to optimize their inventory levels, etc., plus some other consulting services. On a yearly basis in Trax Consulting, we are running something called SCOMTEC, Supply Chain Operation Management Technology Conference. This is a yearly event, supply chain event, that being run for the third year, inshallah, next year. So you are from now invited to this. Last year we did it, and we got over 500 attendees in this conference. That was a quick overview about Trax Consulting. Now we will move to the project overview. What we are going to do in this implementation project, simply as Mr. Mazam mentioned, you have been nominated and selected as the core team for this project. What I'm gonna do now, first of all, I will introduce our team from Trax Consulting. This is the consulting team from Trax Consulting, and we have around 8 consultants, plus myself as a project manager. For each module in the system, we have a specialized senior consultant that taking care of the business requirements and the configuration and implementation of this function. We have Mr. Muhammad Ismail. Muhammad is the finance consultant. Actually, Muhammad is managing the professional services in Trax Consulting, and he will be the finance consultant in this project. Muhammad has more than 12 years experience in Microsoft Dynamics AX. And we have also Mr. Ahmed Yakan. Ahmed will be taking care of the project accounting and project management modules of Microsoft Dynamics AX. Ahmed has more than 13 years in experience in the ERP domain and Microsoft Dynamics AX. We have also Mr. Fathi Al-Jaridi. Fathi, mashallah, has more than 20 years experience in the ERP field and the IT field in general. Fathi will be managing and taking care of the supply chain management activities, covering the procurement and warehouse management business areas. And we have Also, Mr. Muhammad Kamil, the sales consultant. Muhammad, mashallah, has 17 years experience in Microsoft Dynamics family, covering AX. He started with GP and other products as well. He is very experienced in Microsoft Dynamics AX. Muhammad will be taking care of the sales part. And from our partner Solvate, we have Mr. Amir Ataya. Amir is the practice manager of Solvate, who is taking care of implementation of the localized HR and payroll add-on for Microsoft Dynamics AX. Amir will be carrying off the part of HCM, payroll and personnel and administration part. And we missed today Mr. Ahmed Hamdi because he is in vacation. Ahmed will be managing the production part of Microsoft Dynamics AX. Ahmed has more than 12 years experience in Microsoft Dynamics AX, and he will be responsible for the operations part, mainly the production and quality management. We have also Mr. Shakib today. Mr. Shakib will be the senior technical consultant from Trax Consulting, who will be managing the landscape of the infrastructure and systems and installation and configuration. He will be working closely with the IT team to get the system sustained and maintained during the implementation period. And we missed today also Mr. Muhammad Abalim. He will be supporting Mr. Ahmad Yakan in his implementation of Microsoft Dynamics AX project accounting and project management module. So this is the consulting team from Trax. And as you see, all of them are seniors, and we have selected very carefully, and Mr. Muazzam, as he mentioned, carefully selected the consulting team who will be participating in this project to guarantee a successful implementation at the end, inshallah. Okay, the next topic I'm going to discuss with you about the project scope, what we are going to do. We have contracted with Zamil to implement Microsoft Dynamics AX. In another word, we have contracted to build the house. So, but what are the contents of this house in a high level? The detailed level of that will come in the analysis sessions and design session, as Mr. Muazzam explained. In general, we have 5 business units of Al-Zamil that will be covering the implementation of this project. We have the water tanks factory and manhole cover factory, automatic doors factory, insulation contracting, plus Al Arabiya tanks. These are a business unit. Our plan to have these business unit under one legal entity, presented in one company in the system. But of course, this is the target. And this will be subject to the requirement and will be discussed in more detail during the analysis session to have the right decision. We have a separate module. With each business unit, we have the finance that covering the whole 5 business units, and we have the HRM and payroll personnel that covering the whole business unit as well. Then we have the procurement and supply covering, because it's centralized. The inventory and warehouse management modules that covering the whole thing as well, but the management of this will be decentralized. Sales, the same way. We have the production control and 4 business units of this. So all the business units, of course, except the insulation, because there is no manufacturing or no production. Then we have the project accounting, only in the insulation business. So this is the scope for the project stage 1. Right now, this project is for the stage 1. There will be a second stage, inshallah, for the advanced module for Microsoft Dynamics AX. Once we have successfully completed the core module of Microsoft Dynamics AX, we can, inshallah, implement the advanced module that covering the material planning plus other advanced features as well. Okay. Then I'm going to discuss with you about the project implementation, project milestone and phases. Simply, as Muazzam mentioned, the process of building the house, we have 5 stages. We have started already the initiation phase a few days ago working with Mr. Muazzam and the IT team to prepare and initiate the hardware and software requirements. So now, starting from tomorrow, we will be in the second phase, which is the analysis and design phase. During this phase, we will gather the requirements. We will have a workshop with the individual business areas. So the consultant will be sitting with each team in the business area, discussing the requirements, providing the business best practice. And as an outcome of this, we will have something called functional design document that describe the business process, which we call it in another word, the business blueprint. The blueprint for your requirement and business process, how it should be on Microsoft Dynamics AX. The third phase of the implementation, we have the development and configuration phase, where we are doing our work based on the approved functional design document. We're gonna develop the system and configure the system to fit these requirements based on your approval. After we get the system up and running, we will do the deployment part. Deployment part means including some activities like key user training, end user training, and user acceptance testing and conference room pilot. I'm gonna elaborate on this in the next slides. Then at the end, we will go live, inshallah, in the date that we are targeting, which is 1st of January 2017. And during this period, we will have something called Go Live support, that we will support you during the first or the initial days of the going live to be sure that system is up and running and everything is going and working smoothly. These are the stages. How about the dates? Elaborating to Mr. Muazzam mentioned before, we should finalize the project initiation that and I think this is the last stage in the project initiation, the kickoff meeting. Then starting from next week, Sunday specifically, we will kick off the analysis sessions, and we should finish it before Eid vacation, before Hajj vacation, which will be the second week of September. Okay? Our target is to finalize all the analysis and design activities and to get all the functional design approved before we go for Hajj and Eid al-Adha activity. After that, we will be starting the development and configuration phase, and as per the plan, it will be finished by the third week of October. Then the deployment phase will be finished by the second week of December, and then the go live date is 1st of January 2017 inshallah. Thank you. Some details about each phase. The analysis and design phase. During this implementation phase, we're gonna conduct something called analysis workshop. So each consultant in each business area will sit with the team in this business area, discussing the business requirement, coming with something called the functional design document. Adding to this, we will develop something called the data template that the team responsible for gathering the master data will use. It's an Excel template, will use it to gather the master files and open balances. Okay? So as a deliverable and outcome of this phase will be the functional design document, the FDD, one document for each business area. So one document will be the finance, one document for sales, one document for production, one document for inventory and warehouse management, and so on. Adding to this, the data template to gather the master files and to prepare for the open balances. The second phase, which will be the development and configuration phase, mainly this will be our part in Trax Consulting, but as Fathi interfered a while ago with Mr. Muazzam, that some inputs from your side will be required during this. So we will be working on the configuration and the parameterization of the system, but of course, we will need your interference and your support to finalize some points during this phase. Then we will have the development phase. During the development phase, the deployment, we have four main activities. The deployment phase starts by conducting the key user training, which is the training for you. the preparation for you to lead the first level or be the first level support of the implementation. So this phase includes conducting the key user training and something called conference room pilot. It's a testing activity that tests the integration across the system. So from the moment you receive the order from the customer until you deliver to your customer, and the moment you get the BO or send the BO to the supplier and until you pay the money to the supplier, all this cycle will be tested, including the integration part during this phase. Then we will have something called user acceptance testing. You will be handed something called test script that you, after the training as a key user, will test each business process and each business scenario in the new ERP system. Based on that, you will be delivering the end user training to the end user. And this is the last activity of this phase. Then the last phase, which is the go live, including the uploading of the final data, doing some final touches in the configuration and data cleansing, preparing for the go live environment, providing the second level support during this stage. So during this stage, actually, we will be supporting Track's team, will be supporting the key user, and you by role will be supporting the end users. Okay. The second topic that I'm going to discuss with you about the project rules and responsibility. We have multiple rules, as Mr. Muazzam explained. Also, we have the steering committee that taking care of the project activities and steer the project to the right direction. Steering committee contains some members as introduced by Mr. Muazzam. The responsibility of the steering committee is to provide the project oversight and control, provide and resolve the issues and the policy decision, and also support and approve scope changes. If any changes, that's something that we don't like to do any change in the scope, but if needed, and there is a major or good reason to do change in the scope, this should be approved by the steering committee. Adding to this, the project manager. Project manager play a very important role in the implementation project. Responsibilities of the project manager include work with Track's team to plan and schedule the project activities, allocate the project resources. He will be responsible of managing all the activities of the project, managing the schedule, what are the times of each session, and when some deliverable should be delivered and being approved. And communicate the project status on a regular basis with the steering committee. Adding to this, he will be signing off the project phases. You as a core team actually divided into two roles. One is called the key users, or the business process expert, and the other called the business process owner. The business process owner, who will be responsible for reviewing and accepting the planning of the further project phases, decide about business and financial decision, decide about change requests if any changes are needed, and then approve the project deliverables. Then it will be signed off by the project manager. The second rule we have as a core team, the key user, which are the majority of you. We have multiple business areas: finance, procurement, inventory, sales, and project accounting for installation, and HR, of course. Each team of you will play a very important role in his business area. You will have a different participation during the different phases of the implementation project. Your major interference will be the analysis and design phase, during which you will provide and explain the business process and requirements, support the decision for change request, review functional design document, the FDD, that should be reviewed and initially approved by you before it's being approved by the business process owner. That was in the analysis and design phase, and I want to emphasize what Mr. Muazzam mentioned, that your dedication during this project phase is very important. you almost need 100% availability during this project phase. Then we will have, during the configuration phase, there is the minimal interference that you will provide for us some clarification, and we're going to discuss with you some small requirements if needed. In the in the deployment phase, you will have the training, the key user training, and you will lead and help in running the conference room pilot and the user acceptance testing. Adding to this, you will conduct the end user training. So you will be the trainer for the end user training. And during the key user training, we will give you the tool and the facility and some tools and techniques that help you to be a trainer and train the trainer, how to manage these end users and how to give them the information and knowledge with an easy way. At the end, during the go live, your role that you will participate as the first level support for the end user. And of course, we will be there as a second level support. We will be supporting you, and if needed for the end users, if there's any issue or small issue that it need your support for the end user, you will be there to support them, and of course, we will be supporting you. These are the roles and responsibilities for most of the project activities. A very important topic that I need to highlight, which is related to communication. Because one of the main success factors in this project to have a proper communication. That's why we should have, adding to the regular meeting that we're gonna conduct, like the workshops, etc., we should have a weekly meeting. We will invite you as required for this meeting. It's called something called the project team meeting, that we're gonna discuss during which any problem or any issue that come up with the project, any change in the schedule, and to prepare the activities for the next week. So communication management covering regular meeting, covering also the project status and performance report that will be prepared by the project managers that to be reviewed by the steering committee from a month to month. Okay. So as I mentioned, we will have two main meetings. The first is called the steering committee meeting. Usually it is a monthly meeting to check the progress of the project and trying to remove any obstacle or approve anything that needs an approval from the steering committee members. The second meeting is called the project team meeting that we may do it in every 2 weeks or every 1 week as required. Okay. The last thing that I need to highlight, and this is very important for the key user, because we believe that preparing the key user for such a project is very important. That's why we're going to have some program to get you certified in Microsoft Dynamics AX application. We will be doing this in two parts. The first part by providing the key user training, as I mentioned. So each member of you will be participating in the implementation project and will be having a proper training to qualify him to train the end users at the end. But adding to this, after the key user training, there will be an exam. And inshallah, all of you, I'm sure that all of you will pass this exam. You will be handed a certificate that certify you that you are participated actively and successfully completed the implementation of Microsoft Dynamics AX ERP system, and certify that you have the knowledge to work with Microsoft Dynamics AX application. So this is something that you will be awarded at the end of the project, inshallah, and I believe that all of you will achieve it. Because actually, the success of this project is about you. This project will be successful as well as that you or all of us from the consulting team and from the Zamil team do their job the right way. So we rely heavily on you, and we hope all the best for all of us in this project, because at the end, I don't consider it two team actually, because at the end, our goal is one, to get this implementation, inshallah, successful. So all the best for all of us. And I'd like to thank you, and inshallah, see you all over the project phases. Thank you.
Very, very insightful presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
I think
Yes.
the key takeaway for me here is that the consequences of having food in the beginning of the event has resulted in losing off a lot of people here. So this session, unfortunately, could be a very practice. So it will be a totally different experience in the project. In the project, it is going to be a very interactive session.
So, like you have seen, there is a certification program. This certification program is all about to keep all of us awake during the project. We can probably afford to doze off in this meeting, but we cannot afford to doze off while we are doing the project. This is very important. And how do we ensure that? We will ensure that by having a proper formal assessment for each of our key user at the end of those trainings that you're gonna be doing. So there is going to be a formal assessment. Those assessments you will be required to pass and get through, failing which will have its own negative consequences on you and your job. Okay? The whole idea is not to terrorize you. The whole idea is to make sure that we are serious about this whole project. Like I said, this is not a one-man show. This is not just an IT project. This is not something that Trax Consulting will make it in their back office and bring it and let us use it. No. Each one of us has to be on our toes between now and end of the year to make sure that we finish this project in a successful way, right? So me, as the project manager, will make sure that I will keep all of us, including myself, awake during this project, right? So one of the things, as a heads up for all of us, is that there is going to be formal assessments planned at the end of the training sessions, as well as the end user training, depending on which level of training we have done. And you have to clear those assessments, those exams, those tests, right? If somebody fails it, then it will have a negative consequence, which we will announce once we get to that stage. So thank you very much. Very insightful presentation from your side. And as a next step, I just wanted to take your time to kindly come up with any questions. You have listened to me, you have listened to him, both sides. Now I just want to invite questions from your side. If you have any questions about anything that I have talked about anything that Mr. Ahmed has talked about, please come up with your questions, and we are here to answer it. If you have if you need any clarification, if you have any doubts, please let us know. Don't feel shy. We are all part of one team. The whole objective is to actually get this boat sail across the Atlantic Ocean before 1st of January 2016. That's the whole objective. So we have to work as one team. If you have any questions, we are here to help you. We are here to answer it. We are here to clarify anything that you have in your mind right now. If you don't have any questions, then I have a few questions from you, and hopefully that will be my choice whom I will pick on. But if you want to avoid it, please come up with your questions. Any questions? Okay.
Side, the sales and marketing, and we like having the sessions, and then the consecutive sessions that will be taking place. Maybe if one of the consultants
very important question. Do you want to take that?
Thank you for the question. Actually, as I maybe explained in high level, this will be started by conducting analysis workshop. So the first activity, the first engagement between the consultant and the business team is to have the analysis workshop, which will be for around 3 days, 4 days, depending on the functionality and the module. So this is the first thing. The second thing will be after conducting the analysis, the consultant will be working to develop something called the functional design document based on these sessions, which will be sent to the core team, the key user, to review it and help it for 3 to 4 days or another days. This shouldn't be a workshop, but they can do it remotely. And after they read it and go through it, all of them will sit again to discuss and present the functional design document and adjust and amend anything needs to be amended. And this should be the final stage of the functional design document. Yeah. And I think that's the most important.
Right. So in other words, as a summary, the first step in the whole process, which will begin on Sunday of next week, is a discussion between the consultant. I don't see the consultant, but the consultant and the key user, for example, in sales. He would ask questions about how do we do sales in our business? How are we structured as a sales organization? Where we are right now, right? So what is our current position? So they'll get an understanding, and this is called the analysis, right? Based on that analysis, then they will build up, and they will then do the design. That design will be done between the two members of the team. They will tell them that, look, okay, you do sales, and your sales organization is structured in this way, but the industry best practice is this, or based on our opinion and our understanding of your business, this is how you can modify to have more efficiency in your business, right? And then there's going to be a discussion, a debate, and all of that. And the result of that discussion and debate is that we will have a functional document. That functional document then will become the final business process flow for our own functional areas, which will then have to be signed off by the key users and then later on by the business process owners. So analysis, and then design, and then sign off.
Yes, we have a question now. How our people will manage their daily work with the new project?
I think this is again very, very, very important just to get the expectations right. The expectation is that, and this is what I have discussed and agreed with the BPOs as well, way ahead of starting the project. The expectation is that during the workshops, which will start on Sunday next week, we would have to spend at least 6 hours. We will have to reserve 6 hours of our time every day with the consultants, right? Now, other couple of hours in the morning or in the afternoon, depending on how you agree it and how you settle it with the consultants, you can actually focus that time on your day-to-day work and all of that. But it's not going to go on for very long. Like for example, in sales, not in sales, but in finance, we will be starting the workshops on Sunday, which will go on for 5 days. So yes, the staff from finance, the key users of finance, they will be heavily busy, extremely busy with the consultants, and they will not be able to spend a lot of their time, majority of their time during the day, on their day-to-day job. But once that 5-day period is over, that discussion, that workshop is over, then they'll go back to and resume their work. And that's just to mitigate this risk. We have planned our workshops as parallel workshops. So we're going to conduct 3 parallel workshops next week, another 2 parallel workshops the week after, and then the third week again is going to follow the same routine. So that it just goes on an alternate basis.
So they can split their day, for example, first half the daily work, then the second half with the
But it has
consultant.
to be agreed with the consultants that is it convenient for them to spend the first 6 half of the day on the project, another 2 or 3 hours on their day-to-day job, or do they start with their daily routine job and then come back and spend 6 hours on project? it's mutual.
I think for the analysis we need to have almost full day.
Full day, yeah.
Just according to
Which
but
is
for the other project activities,
right.
of course they can have.
I think the next 3 weeks are going to be a very important time in this project. They will set the foundations of the new system, right? So the next 3 weeks, where we are designing the new business processes and the new system, it is going to be absolutely critical. So we have to make sure that there is no distraction, and we manage our time in a way that we don't drop any balls, right? So we are juggling with too many balls. We are juggling with the project as well as our day-to-day routine, so we have to manage it.
Ask production and the other department if they have any questions, because there will be some of them. I'm sure they have some questions.
Right.
To make sure that they know everything.
Can you get me the mic? So, do you have any questions from doors? Do you have any questions about your iPhone? No, not your iPhone, but about your tanks manufacturing and your other area of operation?
No. So basically, my concern is regarding the workshop which we will be having with the consultants. I think it's somewhere in 8th of August to 14th of August. Is it not possible for the consultant to invite in Muzamia so that the workshop can be done there itself? Because we have our daily activities, the morning activities which we need to do it with our team there. So we can spare the time 6 to 8 hours there in factory. But instead of coming to Riyadh, traveling all the way from Riyadh, Muzamia to Riyadh and going back, that will be consuming us around another additional 3 hours.
Right. Is it doable? So what he's requesting is that his team himself, he's the factory manager, so himself and his team is based in the factory in Muzahmiya, right? So which is about half an hour drive out of Riyadh. So what he's requesting is it possible for us to have the workshops conducted in Muzahmiya as opposed to the head office, so that they can they're better in a better position to manage their day-to-day time. For us, do you have enough space? And I'm sure you do, because when we offices, right, exactly. So I think we have a decent space available in the factory where we have a projector and a screen and enough people to sit around the table and have a discussion. Right. So out of these 5 days of workshop, if we have, let's say, 1 or 2 days where we need interaction among different modules, not just production, but maybe finance and production, or procurement and production, so on. So you would require to actually come to the head office, because the project office actually is based in the head office. So you would have to come to the head office.
If it is not the whole team who should come to head office, then it's okay.
No, Joy, I think probably we couldn't. It's not the entire production crew who will be sitting with the consultants doing the workshop. It's not like that. Key user is a person who, like I said earlier, is the most knowledgeable person about the business process, right? Which in our case is yourself, right? So you will be the one who will be interacting with the consultants, explaining them what we are doing right now, and hearing from them what they think we should be doing in terms of the process flow, the business process flow, right? So that discussion needs to happen with yourself rather than the entire production team. So we don't need production supervisors, we don't need technicians or operators, we don't need them. We just need one person specialized in production, which is yourself, sit with the consultant and explain them how we do it, right? So you wouldn't need, I don't think that you would need, just like these gentlemen, I mean, he will be explaining sales business cycle to the consultant. He doesn't need salesmen to come from the branches to, to explain how we do sales, because he is knowledgeable enough to explain it, right? Just like that, you're knowledgeable enough to actually explain how we do production. So I don't think that you would need your entire crew with you in those workshops. I don't think so. Exactly. So from technical side, you will take care of installation because you have enough understanding of the technical side of installation, right? And from the finance side, you have enough understanding with all of your beautiful relationship with the rest of the team about the installation finance life cycle. So the two of you are in a good position to actually sit with the consultant and explain them what this business is all about and how do we do it. You don't need people from the rest of the team. You don't need them. We have made the project office in the head office. The head office is going to be the project office. So ideally, we should have, as much as possible, we should have all the discussions, meetings, and workshops under the same roof. If we disintegrate it, we might have communication gaps. So the preference is that we should have it in the head office because that's where our entire project team will be based. So I think it was a great question. It was a good question. Anything else from the manhole covers? Anything else from quality? Anything else from doors? Nothing. Sorry. One man show? Okay. Logistics. Yeah. So logistics and procurement inventory. Do you guys have any questions or any questions regarding logistic, administration, timing, expectations, timeline, anything about your area? No, that's fine. I completely appreciate your passion and your enthusiasm. But do you have any questions? You need any clarification? I know you are a new person in the boat as far as this project is concerned. Do you have any questions? No, you just feel free to ask us. It's all right. We'll explain it.
It's all right, all right.
I think it's good if you have a question. Everyone else will also listen to it, and obviously there'll be learning for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else? Okay, he has a question, so I got to run away from him now.
Yeah. No, I am just, it's not related to finance, but I have a concern about the inventory thing, because at the moment we are consolidating everything as one inventory module and one team. So we have doors, we have installations. So this particular team will look after the whole inventory module, including doors and installation, or are we segregating?
Very valid question. Very valid question. So the question, his question is, probably you can also help him in answering this question. His question is that right now we have our inventory for different types of businesses segregated as far as the roles and responsibilities of different people are concerned. So there's a group of people who are responsible for the raw materials of the tanks business and manhole cover factory. Yeah? There's another team of people who is responsible for the raw materials, for example, for insulation business. Likewise, there is a different team for doors business. What we have done is, we have made it a centralized workshop. So one person responsible for raw material, regardless of which business it relates to. Likewise, finished goods, regardless of which business it relates to. And that's, I think, is the most efficient way to avoid any duplication and inefficiency. Yeah. But are you guys on board with this? Yes. Do you understand what we have planned? Yes. So the plan is, let's say, for example, you are the key user of finished goods.
Yes.
Right? So you are not only responsible for water tanks, you will be responsible for all the
All the
finishes,
business units, yes.
including the manhole,
Manhole
covers,
cover,
and the
AC
doors,
trays,
and the AC
automatic
trays,
doors,
and
yes.
the water tanks, and everything.
Yes.
Okay. And you're okay with that?
Yeah, we are okay with that. We are already aware with the raw materials also. So our guy who are controlling for the raw materials, he is aware with all the units.
Right.
Insulation we don't have, only doors.
No, hold on. Insulation does not have a finished goods inventory.
Yes.
Insulation only has raw material. So Marvin, where is Marvin? Marvin, you are responsible for the raw materials.
Yes.
So what we are saying is that you're going to be responsible for raw materials across the board, for the factory as well as for the doors as well as for insulation. So is that clear to you? Excellent. And yeah,
Everything is there, no problem.
I explained it to you. So good. So at least we are on the same page now, right? We are not going to have multiple people for multiple products. It's just one person, raw material. One person, finished goods. Sure.
As we have seen in the presentation, discussing the scope of work and the modules, and horizontally how it's going to be implemented. First three modules was shared, which is shared functionality like financials, supply chain, and some other functionality will be individual business unit. So my question is, are we going to standardize the business process for this individuality, like inventory, for example? As we have understood, each business unit is having its own inventory management team, and they have their own business process. So are we going to standardize the procedures or the processes for all this functionality, or each business unit will still stick to their policy?
I think our preference will be to have a standardized business process for one functional area. For example, receiving the raw materials.
Okay.
For example, issuing the raw materials. For example, issuing the finished goods, regardless of whether it's doors or whether it's tanks or any other product. So a standardized, unless there is a specific legitimate need to modify it, which you will and I will come to know about after the design, after the analysis phase.
Okay.
But the preferred approach will be to have a standardized business process for one functional area.
Okay, great.
So instead of having different business processes for different business units, we will have procurement as procurement, regardless of whether procurement is related to tanks or is it related to doors. We will look at procurement as a procurement function, and we will standardize it. But in the analysis phase, we'll, I think, probably learn more about if there is any legitimate need to make any modifications or change that standardization in any of these business processes, if there is a business need.
Exactly. Yes.
But
Thank
the
you.
preferred approach is to have standardized.
Thank you.
Anything else? Right. So just to bring everyone on board on where we are in terms of the barcoding implementation process. So what we have done so far is, and probably Pramod can elaborate on more, or Zamil can elaborate more, but at a high level what we have done is we have done an integration between our existing segment systems, our existing legacy system, with the barcode software, right? There is an integration. I think it's probably 99% or 90% done. Hopefully in the next couple of days it'll be finished. IT is working on it. The whole idea is not to wait for the project to finish and then we do integration, to integrate our barcoding system with our current legacy system with segments right now, so that we start doing the cleansing work of our inventory. Before the end of the year, let's do it now. So it is not only helpful in seeing the right picture of inventory between now and December, but it's also a good groundwork for us to prepare ourselves for go live. It will clean the master data basically.
So when you are dealing with barcodes, it's
Yeah, but I think your question is that how will we, or at what stage will we change that integration from between segments and handheld to handheld and Microsoft? What would be the timing and how would you do it?
We are talking about printing the barcode or using the barcode in the warehouse management operations.
Complete interface.
Complete interface.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, according to the school, we have. Our scope of work include the integration with the barcode printer, including the integration with the barcode printer. So upon the production reporting, the system will automatically print the label, the barcode labels, to be sticked on the tanks. This is what we agreed upon.
So we will go through this whole process from the design and analysis
from the
phase.
design and analysis
Phase, and we will conclude it by the time we go for UAT.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
The UAT is the testing. So before the testing, which is planned for I think end of probably middle of October, if I'm not wrong, or end of October. At that time, they will finish the integration.
So, for example, during the analysis phase, the consultant and the production team will agree about how the system will print the barcode labels and what is the design of the barcode label, and how from Microsoft Dynamics AX the system will print and generate the automatic serial number and the barcode labels.
I have one more question, but then I think take a break because it's prayer time. Please. I have a question regarding this process that you can advise us, which is what we are doing. I'm sure there is some differences. How we will
Bridge the gap.
Yeah. Of course, during the analysis phase, the consultant doesn't sit with the business team and ask them how you are doing the business, and this is what we will implement. We are not working this way. But what's happening? The consultant is suggesting the business best practice based on our experience in the field, and as you see, that we are very specialized in manufacturing and service-based industry. Adding to this, we have the design phase, because during the analysis, of course, there's something called gap and fit analysis. We will have three options based on the gap and fit analysis. Whether the business requirement doesn't fit with Microsoft Dynamics AX, and the solution for that is to enhance the business process. And this is a good chance to do the change and move to follow the business best practice. And this is what we are trying to push the business team to work this way. But if there's no way, and it's a challenge and major requirement, we have two other options. Whether to do an enhancement or customization in the system to fit the business requirement, or to have a workaround, to work around it. So these are the three, let's say, management approaches to resolve the gaps issues.
Right, okay. Thanks a lot. Shall we? Okay, so now it brings us to probably the last stretch of our meeting of today. But before we get to the next stage of discussion, we will break now for the prayers as well as for a snack. And then once we come back, shall we come back in 15 minutes? Or
Yeah,
15. So right now it's 4 o'clock, 4:15 we'll come back and then we'll resume, and hopefully by 5 o'clock we'll finish. All right, so 4:15 we'll be back. Right, so this actually brings us to the second last event of this meeting, in which I would invite all the key users who have been nominated as part of this project to come over to the stage and shake hand with the shareholder, Mr. Najib Zamil, the chairman of the board, and shake hand with the CEO, Mr. Muhammad Al Yassin, get their certificate of nomination, take a photo and come back. So we'll just start it. I'll just call out your names one by one, and we'll hand over the certificate if you can, please.
Here.
Shaking hand.
Come here and shake hands.
Come like this.
Right, so we'll start with the key user of finance, Abdul Hasib, to please come over to the stage and take his certificate of nomination from the chairman of the board and the CEO.
To the right first, and then come to take it from me. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. For the best, huh?
Thank you very much. Fahumi Ismail from Budgeting and Costing Department. Very good. Mr. Muhammad Al-Shahat from Treasury, nominated as the key user in finance, to come over please and take the certificate. Mr. Tamir Siddiq, who is the key user of one of the key users of sales, to come over and take his certificate, please. Mr. Ahmad Abbas, the key user of sales, so please join us and get his certificate. Mr. Marwin, key user of raw materials from the factory.
Why didn't you clap hand for him?
Why not?
Everyone.
Now we had food,
Make
so
it lively.
let's make it more lively. Very good, excellent. Mr. Pramod, who will be the key user for the finished goods of all the stocks. Very good, excellent. Mr. Hassan Hilla, nominated as the key user of inventory across the board. Mr. Muhammad Hisham, I think he's not here, so one of his proxies will come and get the certificate on his behalf. Hamdi. Mr. Hamdi, he will collect the certificate on behalf of Muhammad Hisham, who is not here right now. This is for the key user of spare parts inventory.
This is not for you, huh?
You got a photo here, though. Good. Mr. Peter Fernandez is not here, so Fahumi will come and get his certificate on his behalf. Oh, Kumar is here. So Kumar will come in and get the certificate on behalf of Peter Fernandez for the key user of procurement.
Kumar, how are you? Hi, sir.
Mr. Roberto, to come. Why are you so surprised? You are one of the key users, so come on, come on. Very good. So he's going to be the key user for quality.
You are not sure that you're
Very good. Mr. Ajoy Thapa, the key user of production of water tanks and the factory.
meeting you, sir.
Very good. Ravi is not here. Ravi is again one of the key users in our production module. He is not here today. So Fahumi will come over and get his certificate on his behalf.
Okay.
There you go.
You sure, huh?
Mr. Alberto, factory manager for manhole covers, key user of manhole covers as well as doors. Good luck. Mr. Nicholas, he has been nominated as the key user of machine maintenance.
Congratulations, all the best for you.
Mr. Ishfaq Hussain, he has recently been nominated as the key user for fleet maintenance.
Alaikum assalam. Congratulations. Thank you.
Mr. Hatim, our favorite key user from human resources. Hope you enjoyed the food. All the best.
مغشوشة كمان من اللي غشوا في الامتحانات. عارف
Mr. Abdul Jalil, one of the key users for Employee Master.
Anything to sign, Jalil? Huh? Before I give you this?
Ms. Arij, one of the key users in human resources.
ما شاء الله عليك يا ريت. على البركة يا ماما.
All the best.
صفقوا له مرة ثانية.
Mr. Ahmed, to be honest with you, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'll just try my best. So Ahmed Itman, yes. There you go. So come over, you're the key user for insulation.
One of the caliphs. You're Muslims.
That's
Khalifa Uthman.
Usman.
Yeah, after, yeah. So
Different pronunciation.
it's
Is it the
different
same word?
Yeah.
No, it's the same, different.
هم طلعوا عثمان قاعد ثاني غير بتاعنا. ها؟ لا عائلة عثمان مش عثمان. عثمان غير عثمان؟ انتوا خرجتوا عن الاسلام؟
All the best. All the best.
Let's change the name.
Yeah. Mr. Muhammad Al-Badri, the key user for insulation business. You should have received it from the chairman, by the way. But anyway. Mr. Tamir Siddiq, once again, as one of the project coordinators to come and receive his nomination.
You know, somebody wrote your name Siddiqui. Yes, so I think you're from Tehran.
No, me? Alhamdulillah, I thought.
Mr. Fahumi Ismail, once again, to come in and get your certificate for project coordinator, one of the project coordinators.
What's happening? It's your day.
Fahumi, just to explain everyone, and especially Mr. Najib, that why you're seeing him back and forth coming on the stage again and again. He has been involved in multiple ERP implementations at Al-Marai and other companies in the past. So I'm going to use him, if not abuse him, in this project as much as I can. I'll use him.
You have been reincarnated? He has been in Marai.
Right.
So reincarnated to Azam.
Exactly.
You're Hindu? No. It's okay.
Mr. Abdul Hasib, again, one of the project coordinators and for the project.
Thank you.
Nice from you.
Mazam Shah.
I don't know where it is.
Where is the proxy? I am so proud of this gentleman, really, really. And he changed the history of this company. I have to admit that.
Thank you very much. Really feel honored and really appreciate it.
And I tell you this from my heart, really, and from my deep conscience, because he never have given me even a single riyal, even, since I came to him, right? Since I came to know him, wallah.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Your citizen.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. So we have two options. Either you deliver your final remarks,
No, finance.
or I have a small team building exercise. It will take probably 10-15 minutes. It's up to you. If you're late, then we'll close it with your final remarks. If we have 15 more minutes.
No, give me the.
You want that?
Please, give me the privilege to talk with them.
So
I
you want?
talk, then you contact your.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Sure. Sure.
Should I go there?
It's up to you. If you want to sit here or you want to go there, it's up to you.
No problem.
So Mr. Najib Zamil, chairman of the board and one of the shareholders, to deliver his final words on the meeting of today and the project itself.
Going to close because we have something I have to tell you as a scandal, and maybe make you a little bit upset because I was a little bit upset. First of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace upon you, everybody. This is better. هذا أحسن. Okay. This is a very important moment in this company. Why it's very important? Actually, it's a mega important thing. Why it's very important? Because now, in this very moment, we are jumping from an era to a new era. Now we are jumping from a century, actually, to a new century. Now we are jumping a big loop, actually, from the status quo of our company to something we anticipate to be big and should be big. So the nature of any kick-off meeting, that everybody should come with enthusiasm and wheels, storms, tsunami of questions. So I thought when Mr. Mu'azzam Shah ended his speech and Mr. Maghribi ended his speech, that everybody and every one of you will jump upon them and they will eat them alive, asking questions. But I was really, if I can say it, I was little bit, no, not little bit, I was really disappointed. To the extent that I told Mu'azzam Shah that today I will not sleep at rest. That tonight I think I'm going to face with a very bad dreams. Because I was expecting that everybody will ask questions. He was begging everybody to ask questions. Even the question that rose up and came to him, they were hesitant and shy, like registering that, look, I'm here only. While we are signing a big project with with professional people, and this thing is not artificial. There's something very genuine. This is not a make-up for the company. This is the core of the company. Not coming up with the questions indicates many things to me. Either nobody understood what's going on, so nobody came with the questions. While those brave people who didn't know or don't know, they should come up with questions. Especially in an occasion like this, when we call it, and this is why we call it kick-off meeting. It's like going to a team with players. And if those players, they don't play, you will not score. Or they know, and they think they know, and they come with a question. And this is also an egoistic problem that we have to deal with, or to admit. So as a chairman of this company, and one of those people who will pay for the Microsoft, or their proxy, as they put it, I am a little bit hesitant. I want you to tell me that I'm wrong. I want to prove that I am wrong. I was not at all happy. I thought that question will be raised. I kept deep in my heart many questions that I want to come up with. But I thought those professional people, my employees, will come with many genuine questions. I thought that they will attack Mr. Abu Muazzam Shah, or they will attack Mr. Al-Maghribi with questions. But I think for Mr. Al-Maghribi, if he's still here, it was the easiest meeting for him, I think. The easiest at all, right? Because nobody came with a question. Nobody came and asked him genuine questions. Nobody verified what he told us, facts or falses. I don't know how we are going to solve this, but we should solve it, please. I don't want to say sorry because I've been candid with you. Of course not. Because, as I told you, it's not a makeup, it's not a joke, it's something that destines our future. Thank you, gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum.
I think very genuine concerns shared by the chairman of the board, and we will make sure that during the project and at the end of the project, we prove it to the management that we were worth it. If we were selected for this project, then we were worth it. We have to prove it. All right. We're gonna make sure that we are responsive enough, we are active enough to actually do this project in the right way. Now, I just wanted to also invite Mr. Hassan Askar, who represent our shareholder Jadwa Investment, to say a few words about our team and this meeting and our project, which is an important milestone in the history of this company. So, Mr. Hassan Askar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. First off, I'd like to thank everyone here, and especially Mr. Mu'azzam, for organizing this kickoff meeting and for attending, especially the chairman of the board. I'd like to, on behalf of Jadwa, thank you all for taking this historic step towards elevating a Zamil Company from one milestone to another, which is culminating through the implementation of this new ERP system. As we just heard from the chairman of the board, there are some very credible concerns with regards to the ability of us to succeed in the implementation of this, because in the end we are not able to force the success. We are not able to guarantee the success. All of you are going to be the drivers behind that, and all of you are going to be the key cogs behind making that success and making the implementation of this ERP system possible. So I would like to implore all of you to think about this great opportunity that you've been given. You've been selected from a large number of employees to put your feedback and put your skills and knowledge into this new system and improve our company going forward. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone here for attending, and I really look forward to seeing extremely positive results from all of you over the next 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hassan. So as next step, we can have a group photo with the consultants and our team, and then we'll call it a day. Right, so this actually brings us to the second last event of this meeting, in which I would invite all the key users who have been nominated as part of this project to come over to the stage and shake hand with the shareholder, Mr. Najib Zamil, the chairman of the board, and shake hand with the CEO, Mr. Muhammad Al Yassin, get their certificate of nomination, take a photo, and come back. So we'll just start it. I'll just call out your names one by one, and we'll hand over the certificate, if you can please.
Here. Shaking hand.
Come like this.
Right, so we'll start with the key user of finance, Abdul Hasib, to please come over to the stage and take his certificate of nomination from the chairman of the board and the CEO.
To the right first, and then come take it from me. Okay, thank you. Congratulations. For the best, huh? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fahumi Ismail from Budgeting and Costing Department. Very good. Mr. Muhammad Al Shahat from Treasury, nominated as the key user in finance, to come over please and take the certificate. Mr. Tamir Siddiq, who is the key user of one of the key users of sales, to come over and take his certificate, please. Mr. Ahmed Abbas, the key user of sales, to please join us and get his certificate. Mr. Marwin, key user of raw materials from the factory.
Why didn't you clap hand for him?
Why not?
Everyone.
Now we had food, so let's make it more lively. Very good, excellent. Mr. Pramod, who will be the key user for the finished goods of all the stocks. Very good, excellent. Mr. Hassan Hilla, nominated as the key user of inventory across the board. Mr. Muhammad Hisham, I think he's not here, so one of his proxies will come and get the certificate on his behalf. Hamdi. Mr. Hamdi, he will collect the certificate on behalf of Muhammad Hisham, who is not here right now. This is for the key user of spare parts inventory.
Not for you, huh?
You got a photo here, no? Good. Mr. Peter Fernandez is not here, so Fahumi will come and get his certificate on his behalf. Oh, Kumar is here. So Kumar will come in and get the certificate on behalf of Peter Fernandez for the key user of procurement. Mr. Roberto, to come. Why are you so surprised? You are one of the key users, so come on, come on. Very good. So he's going to be the key user for quality. Very good. Mr. Ajoy Thapa, the key user of production of water tanks and the factory.
Meeting you, sir.
There you go. Ravi is not here. Ravi is again one of the key users in our production module. He is not here today. So Fahumi will come over and get his certificate on his behalf.
Okay.
There you go.
You sure, huh?
Mr. Alberto, factory manager for manhole covers, key user of manhole covers as well as doors. Good luck. Mr. Nicholas, he has been nominated as the key user of machine maintenance.
Congratulations, all the best for you.
Mr. Ishfaq Hussain, he has recently been nominated as the key user for fleet maintenance.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Mr. Hatim, our favorite key user from human resources. Hope you enjoyed the food. All the best.
مغشوشة كمان من اللي غشوا في الامتحانات.
Mr. Abdul Jalil, one of the key users for Employee Master.
Anything to sign, Jalil? Huh? Before I give you this?
Ms. Arij, one of the key users in human resources.
ما شاء الله عليك سيدي. على البركة يا ماما.
All the best.
صفقوا لها مرة ثانية.
Mr. Ahmed, to be honest with you, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I'll just try my best. So Ahmed Itman, yes. There you go. So come over, you're the key user for insulation.
One of the Khalifas. You're Muslims.
That's
Khalifa Uthman.
Usman.
Yeah, after, yeah. So
Different pronunciation.
It's
Is it the same word?
Yeah.
No, it's the same, different.
هم طلعوا عثمان قاعد ثاني غير بتاعنا. ها؟
لا اللي عثمان مش عثمان.
عثمان غير عثمان؟ انتوا خرجتوا عن الاسلام؟
All the best. All the best.
Let's change the name.
Yeah. Mr. Muhammad Al-Badri, the key user for insulation business. You should have received it from the chairman, by the way. But anyway. Mr. Tamir Siddiq, once again, as one of the project coordinators to come and receive his nomination.
You know, somebody wrote your name Siddiqui. So I think you're from Tehran.
لا 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 رمي الحمد لله عارفك
Mr. Fahumi Ismail, once again, to come in and get your certificate for project coordinator, one of the project coordinators.
What's happening? It's your day.
Fahumi, just to explain everyone, and especially Mr. Najib, that why you're seeing him back and forth coming on the stage again and again. He has been involved in multiple ERP implementations at Al Marai and other companies in the past. So I'm going to use him, if not abuse him, in this project as much as I can.
Maybe
I'll use him.
You have been reincarnated. He has been in Marai.
Right.
So reincarnated to Azam.
Exactly.
You're Hindu? No. That's okay.
Mr. Abdul Hasib, again, one of the project coordinators and for the project.
Thank you. You are
That's for me.
Mazam Shah.
I don't know where it is.
What is a proxy? I am so proud of this gentleman, really. And he changed the history of this company. I have to admit that.
Thank you very much. Really feel honored and really appreciate it.
And I tell you this from my heart, really, and from my deep conscience, because he never have given me even a single riyal, even, since I came to him, right? Since I came to know him, wallah.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
You're such good.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. So we have two options. Either you deliver your final remarks, or I have a small team building exercise. It will take probably 10, 15 minutes. It's up to you. If you're late, then we'll close it with your final remarks. If we have 15 more minutes.
No, give me the.
You want that?
Please, give me the ability to talk with them.
So
I
you
talk,
want?
then you conduct your.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Sure.
Should I go there?
It's up to you. If you want to sit here or you want to go there, it's up to you. So Mr. Najib Zamil, chairman of the board and one of the shareholders, to deliver his final words on the meeting of today and the project itself.
Going to close because there is something I have to tell you that is candid, and maybe make you a little bit upset, because I was a little bit upset. First of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace upon you, everybody. This is better. هذا أحسن. Okay. This is a very important moment in this company. Why it's very important? Actually, it's a mega important thing. Why it's very important? Because now, in this very moment, we are jumping from an era to a new era. Now we are jumping from a century, actually, to a new century. Now we are jumping a big loop, actually, from the status quo of our company to something we anticipate to be big and should be big. So the nature of any kick-off meeting, that everybody should come with enthusiasm and wheels, storms, tsunami of questions. So I thought when Mr. Mu'azzam Shah ended his speech and Mr. Maghribi ended his speech, that everybody and every one of you will jump upon them and they will eat them alive, asking questions. But I was really If I can say it, I was little bit, no, not a little bit, I was really disappointed. To the extent that I told Muazzam Shah that today I will not sleep at rest. That tonight, I think I'm going to face with a very bad dreams. Because I was expecting that everybody will ask questions. He was begging everybody to ask questions. Even the question that rose up and came to him, they were hesitant and shy, like registering that, look, I'm here only. While we are signing a big project with with professional people, and this thing is not artificial. There's something very genuine. This is not a make-up for the company. This is the core of the company. Not coming up with the questions indicates many things to me. Either nobody understood what's going on, so nobody came with the questions. While those brave people who didn't know or don't know, they should come up with questions. Especially in occasion like this, when we call it, and this is why we call it kick-off meeting. It's like going to a team with players. And if those players they don't play, you will not score. Or they know and they think they know and they come with a question. And this is also an egoistic problem that we have to deal with or to admit. So as a chairman of this company and one of those people who will pay for the Microsoft or their proxy, as they put it, I am a little bit hesitant. I want you to tell me that I'm wrong. I want to prove that I am wrong. I was not at all happy. I thought that question will be raised. I kept deep in my heart many questions that I want to come up with. But I thought those professional people, my employees, will come with many genuine questions. I thought that they will attack Mr. Muazzam Shah, or they will attack Mr. Al-Maghribi with questions. But I think for Mr. Al-Maghribi, if he's still here, it was the easiest meeting for him, I think. The easiest at all, right? Because nobody came with a question. Nobody came and asked him genuine questions. Nobody verified what he told us, facts or falses. I don't know how we are going to solve this, but we should solve it, please. I don't want to say sorry because I've been candid with you. Of course not. Because, as I told you, it's not a makeup, it's not a joke, it's something that destines our future. Thank you, gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum.
I think very genuine concerns shared by the chairman of the board, and we will make sure that during the project and at the end of the project, we prove it to the management that we were worth it. If we were selected for this project, then we were worth it. We have to prove it. All right. We're gonna make sure that we are responsive enough, we are active enough to actually do this project in the right way. Now, I just wanted to also invite Mr. Hassan Askar, who represent our shareholder, Jadwa Investment, to say a few words about our team and this meeting and our project, which is an important milestone in the history of this company. So, Mr. Hassan Askar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. First off, I'd like to thank everyone here, and especially Mr. Muazzam, for organizing this kickoff meeting and for attending, especially the chairman of the board. I'd like to, on behalf of Jadwa, thank you all for taking this historic step towards elevating a Zamil Company from one milestone to another, which is culminating through the implementation of this new ERP system. As we just heard from the chairman of the board, there are some very credible concerns with regards to the ability of us to succeed in the implementation of this, because in the end we are not able to force the success. We are not able to guarantee the success. All of you are going to be the drivers behind that, and all of you are going to be the key cogs behind making that success and making the implementation of this ERP system possible. So I would like to implore all of you to think about this great opportunity that you've been given. You've been selected from a large number of employees to put your feedback and put your skills and knowledge into this new system and improve our company going forward. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone here for attending, and I really look forward to seeing extremely positive results from all of you over the next 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hassan. So as next step, we can have a group photo with the consultants and our team, and then we'll call it a day.
Smile, please. We're going to take video control. Smile, please. Keep your eyes open. Okay, just